questions for Mr. Smith and Mr. Carey are, what could Mr. Smith bring and what could Mr. Carey bring that would fit with my pattern? Without saying the pattern, see, can you figure out something that Mr. Smith or Mr. Carey would bring that could fit with the pattern? Mariana?
Can.
Who could bring a can?
Mr. Smith.
Okay, so what can he bring?
A can.
So how would you like to write it? Do you want to just write a can or do you want to write he can bring a can?
He can bring it.
Okay, so underneath his name, what can he bring? You want Mr. Smith, right? Okay, so then underneath when it says what can he bring, in those two blank lines, see if we can write he can bring a can. He. Well, I like how she's leaving a space. Okay. Can bring. I really like how Mariana is looking at the word that's in the sentence to help him out, or to help her out, sorry. He can bring a can.
Ms. Cochran, could you please contact 102, Ms. Cochran?
And what goes at the end of a sentence? Okay. Now, looking at that sentence, is there anything that Mariana would have to change about the sentence? Or he can bring a can. If she wrote a full sentence, what might she need to change? I wonder if Mariana can figure it out. Look carefully. Mariana, if you move out of the way so everyone can see, look carefully at Mariana's sentence where he can bring a can. It's almost perfect. Can you figure out what would need to change?
The W.
What do you mean?
That's up there.
Oh, no.
Because there's no B.
No, but this one is he can bring a can. There's no W in there. But if we're writing a sentence, what's wrong with this one? What goes at the end of all of our
A
sentences?
period.
Okay, so we have the period at the end. What goes at the start of all the sentences to tell us that it's a sentence?
Capital.
Do you have the capital letter? Okay, so what would you have to do? Okay, or change it into a?
Capital.
Perfect. You can bring a can. Excellent. So we have Miss Dunsiger can bring a, Mrs. Wedgwood can bring a, Mr. Smith or he can bring a can. What could Mr. Carey bring that would stick with the pattern?
Van.
Oh no, I have a van. Can you think of anything else? Man, van, can.
Pan.
Okay. Why, instead of writing a sentence this time, Jordan, let's show another way we could do it. We could just write the words a, pan. So first we're going to write A for a, and then we're going to leave a big space, and we're going to write pan. Pan.
And this one.
Up top.
What?
Yep. Puff and. What two letters make an? Yeah. You've got it. Perfect. A pan. So, for some of you, if you don't want to write a whole sentence, you could choose to just write a couple of words. So, looking at our pattern so far, we have what I can bring, we have what Mrs. Wedgwood can bring, we have what Mr. Smith can now bring, we have what Mr. Carey can now bring. What would you bring if you were going on this picnic? A man, a van, a can, a pan. What else could you bring? pattern of man, van, can, and pan. Would a book fit?
No.
Okay, can someone think of something that Najma could bring though that would fit with the pattern?
A fan.
A fan. So, Najma, we could write, Najma can bring a,
Fan.
so she's going to start here with her name. Najma. Then she's going to leave a big space. Can. You've got it. I like how you're looking up at the word too. Then space and what's the next word? Najma can fan or Najma can
Bring.
bring. Where's the word bring? See it? Good. Bring. Najma can bring. Okay. Fan. Okay. Now, what goes at the end of a sentence? Now look at, what did you want to write? Najma can bring a,
Book.
what, but
Fan.
what did you want to do that fit with our pattern?
Fan.
Fan. So what sound starts us in fan?
F.
What sound do you hear? What sound do you hear first in fan?
F.
What sound? Not what letter, what sound? Right, and what letter makes that sound?
F.
Okay, so what are you going to do?
Cross it off.
Okay, and what will you write?
Fan. Does it hurt?
And what goes at the end of a sentence? Thank you. What is the pattern? What is my pattern here?
A rhyming pattern.
Okay, and what does it have to rhyme with?
Man or van.
Right,
It used to be an and at the end of it.
right.
I
That
know
all makes it rhyming. Now, you could do it like I started off, which is I wrote some sentences and then we continued writing sentences. For many of you, writing sentences is a great idea because it's kind of what you're working on is that full, complete sentence. But if it's really hard for you to write the sentence, if you're just trying to get a word down, try what Jordan did. He didn't write a whole sentence, but he did write down a couple of words. So he wrote a pan. Over here, he could just write his name, Jordan, and then put a little dash, and then write down what he could bring. So what else would rhyme with man and van and fan and can and pan? What else would rhyme? We have man and van and fan and can and pan. Anyone think of another thing that rhymes? Nan. So Jordan could bring a nan, which isn't like a real word, although it's sometimes short for the word nana, which is like a grandmother.
And there's also a type of bread.
There is, but that nan is spelt differently.
It is.
That man is spelt like this, and does it go as non or nan? I'm not sure.
I don't know. Non.
So this one is the bread. That is good.
Wilson, please contact 102, Ms.
So
Wilson.
you'll find that you can do it a couple different ways. If you're just trying to write those words, if that's the hardest stuff that you can do, try to get those words down. If you think though that you could write the full clues like we did and some options, try it. Because what I'm hoping to do today is I'm hoping some of you will create your own little charts, just like I made, almost with like clues for the picnic game. And then you could come up and you could share what different people could bring. You could write down like your family members and you could pretend what they could bring on the picnic. You could write people in the class and you could write down what they could bring on the picnic. You could even write down people from the office like Mr. Smith or Mr. Carey, and you could write down what they could bring, or you could write our phys ed teachers and what they could bring on the picnic, or you could even put down, oh, and I forgot to change that because it's not Mr. Caruso anymore today, it's Miss Ritter. So you could write down Miss Ritter and you could write what they could bring on the picnic. And then see if we can solve the riddle. Who thinks that they could write it for us so that we could solve the riddle for today? I hope I'll have a couple riddles for us to solve.